at the United Nations Environment Program working with the governments to help them to understand the role and the value of the ecosystem services in sustainable human well-being. At the moment we are working with local communities, municipalities, regional government officials and the national government in 4 different countries: South Africa, Vietnam, Chile and Trinidad and Tobago. We are trying to help them to link the ecosystem services with their development policy making. What I mean by development policy making, of course, changes from countries to countries. For instance, in Chile, we are helping to municipality to link the ecosystem services with local development plans. In Trinidad and Tobago, we are working with the national government to link the ecosystem services with strategic special special planning. For instance, in South Africa, we are working with the municipality again for their risk assessment management and also with the water authority to link ecosystem services with water resource management. In Vietnam, we are working with the local government in their land use planning so that they can plan better to include the ecosystem services for better well-being.
So why should governments recognize eco-services?
Ecosystem services are the foundation for us, are the foundation of human well-being, and for a better and informed decision making, we believe that, I think this is the paradigm that we should force, that evidence-based policy making needs to interlink ecosystem services assessment into sustainable development planning. For that purpose, we are helping governments to map what the services people are getting in the targeted pilot sites. And also we try to value them so that they can link and understand what is the value that they can compare with other services or products that they buy, so that in the trade-off analysis they can make the decision whether they should protect and conserve that area or change for that targeted business processes. So this is the idea behind the project. We also try to help the governments to assess their decisions with the scenario development tools. Usually governments might have 5-year plans. Governments might have a new special development plan, but they usually don't have the information how their plan would have impact on the environment, so the ecosystem services. With the tools that we developed, like mapping and valuation and scenario analysis and trade-off assessment, they try to understand their impact with those decisions. Of course, as I told you, we are targeting different government officials. For that purpose, you also have to change your language so that they could be understood by the government officials as well. For instance, you cannot use the same language that you use for Minister of Finance, for the Minister of Environment or Minister of Forestry. It is much more important for the Minister of Finance how the ecosystem services might have impact on the macroeconomic indicators, or for Minister of Forest, it is much more important how the local community in the forest might be affected. Or for the Minister of Interior, again, it might be much more important how the community can survive their livelihoods with the available resources and the ecosystem services in that community area.
Are you finding any resistance from government to this new way of thinking?
I think the government also, almost in 4 countries, have understood the role and importance of ecosystem services. That's why we have really strong support, not only from the national government, but from the local government as well. To give an example, now Trinidad and Tobago, the Ministry of Planning and Sustainable Development declares the project for ecosystem services, that is ProEcoServ, the project that we are implementing as the government project, which is a big gain for us to hear that ownership. It's not only in the statements, but it's also being mentioned in the reports as well. Or take Vietnam case. We are very close with Ministry of Environment in Vietnam, and they have already included the project and the project concept into various national strategies. So I think we have quite strong support from the governments. We are working with the local community in Chile, especially in the northern part, in the driest desert of the world, San Pedro de Atacama. Since it's desert, of course, the water is very critical and important. And since the water is limited, it is always a big conflict between the business and the community, agricultural users, etc. We are working with the local municipality, and we are trying to identify the borders of the basin so that we can estimate how much water is available at the site, so that the municipality and the regional government can gather together with the community and decide how much water can be best and most sustainably used for which purposes. For instance, in South Africa, we are working at a district level in the southern part, Eden district, and we are again helping to local governments to link the ecosystem services with their disaster risk management. For that purpose, of course, disaster is also linked with insurance, and in our process, the insurance companies are also part of this decision making and policy assessment process. In another example, in Vietnam, we are working in the south, even at the southern edge of Vietnam, and we are helping the local government to understand the role and the importance of mangroves against flood protection and other soil retention services of ecosystems. For that purpose, we are now working the scenarios of what if we didn't have any mangroves, what type of disasters and the cost of those disasters might we have. And we are also comparing what if we restored the lost mangroves and how much we could have saved from and against the disasters. In Trinidad and Tobago, we are working at the national scale. We are helping to Ministry of Planning and Sustainable Development to use the ecosystem services concept to assess their special strategic planning. And with this tool, the government will try to understand how their different special planning might have impact on the ecosystem services in Trinidad and Tobago.